But now, still with the city of Johannesburg, the ANC is set to launch an inquiry into, with the IEC into the participation of DA councillor Leah Knott in the Johannesburg Council. The party says there's no records of Knott in the gazette of the councillors published. For more on this story, we are now joined by ANC Greater Johannesburg spokesperson Chris Vondo. Chris, good to have you with us this evening. So you've picked up, you say, a discrepancy. When exactly did you pick up this discrepancy?
Good evening, Mr. Mdluli, and good evening to the viewers. Mr. Mdluli, it's quite sad that in the context of good governance and accountability, which has come to the fore in South Africa, and I'm sure you've seen the details of the latest details that have come out of the Auditor General insofar as issues of good governance and accountability are concerned. And I think that as the African National Congress that is playing its role of being an effective opposition in council has done so in the context of good governance and deepening of our democratic state. It is in this regard that we have learned that there is a discrepancy insofar as Councillor Knott is concerned, and that discrepancy relates to the fact that she is a councillor, and we've learned that Councillor Knott does not exist in the context of the gazetted list of the Independent Electoral Commission. And therefore, as a Chapter 9 institution that is entrusted or is the custodian of the matters in relation to the lists, we thought it would be prudent as the African National Congress in the Greater Johannesburg region to proceed and go to this institution, this Chapter 9 institution enshrined in our constitution, so that it can help us to clarify this discovery that we've been alerted to. It is in that context because we think that the issues that Councillor Knott in the city of Joburg, who does not appear in that list, may have compromised the credibility and the integrity of the institution of the Johannesburg. As we speak, Mr. Mdluli, we are alerted that there are a number of adverts that are coming out of the city of Johannesburg, including smaller adverts that have to do with general workers, smaller adverts like assistant director of operations manager, and Councillor Knott is demanding that all those adverts must be directed to her office. And then we think that this has already compromised or put the institution into disrepute. And we think that this is a violation of good governance and the principles of good governance.
So according to the DA, she's listed as a councillor of Ward 89, but not only that, she's a member of the mayoral committee, which was appointed by the executive mayor, which I suppose could explain what you are talking about now. She's in charge of corporate services and leader of executive business.
It is precisely that, Mr. Mdluli, that when you are a councillor, first and foremost, you are then assigned by the executive mayor who appoints you as a member of the mayoral committee. In that process, you are given delegations of authority. And those delegations of authority are what guides your decision-making and what gives you the powers and the functions of what you are supposed to do as the member of the mayoral committee. We think that the executive mayor has questions to answer because both the executive mayor and the speaker have allowed Councillor Knott to participate in the decision-making process, whereas in the records, Councillor Knott does not exist. And we think that this is a violation of the prescripts of the Municipal Structures Act. It is in that context that we are making this call to IEC, first and foremost as the custodian of the list processes of the councillors, but also want to lodge to the acting speaker in the city of Johannesburg to ensure that the decisions that Councillor Knott was part of in council as a leader of government business are put into question, because we don't believe that Councillor Knott in this regard represent what is the good governance and accountability in this context.
Do you think this is sloppy work on the part of the Democratic Alliance, or there is intentional, as you put it, unethical behavior on their part to feel the councillor was not a councillor? I mean, I don't quite understand why you would say she's not a councillor, because she's clearly a councillor of a particular ward who was voted there.
Mr. Mdluli, we think that the Democratic Alliance is being mischievous in this regard because it has made many allegations against the African National Congress, unfounded for that matter. It is disingenuous because they want to hold the power. I mean, clearly today you've seen in the country. You've seen the multi-party minority parties, who, by the way, were part and parcel of the coalition led by the Democratic Alliance. And they've raised publicly the issues that they are unhappy with. And they continue to accuse the ANC. And the ANC has not supported any motion. And we think that this is our time now as the African National Congress to set the record straight and go to the law enforcement agencies as well. Because there's nothing stopping us to go to the law enforcement agencies to go and ask for the mayor to explain her financial misconduct as well, because there is a case against the executive mayor herself. And some of these things are not being entertained, Mr. Mhluli. Clearly, the DA is mischievous in this regard, and they want to blame for the ANC about vote buying. We have accepted our fate. We are now in the opposition. We are delivering that responsibility and discharging it very effectively for that matter. And we'll continue to expose that. We are not, obsessed with power or attainment of power. We want to come back through a back door. The African National Congress is clear. It has accepted its faith. It's in a process of renewing itself. It's in a process of self-correcting. It's in a process of rekindling its relationship with the communities of our country, of our community in Johannesburg, to ensure that we build a strong party so that come back the time we are given the responsibility again to govern. We govern on behalf of the citizens of Johannesburg to ensure that the quality of life of our residents is improved.
But Chris, the executive mayor, for example, says the reason why Councillor Knott is being attacked now, it's because she is conducting lifestyle audits. In fact, on all councillors, and she's about to disclose some rather important information about councillors who can't justify their lifestyles. And this is why the ANC is coming to her attack now.
Let me put the record straight, Mr. Mhluli. Councillor, the mayor, executive mayor, disingenuous. It's for the public record in council. If you look at the record of decision, the motion was raised by the EFF, and the ANC supported that motion during the Mayor Makubo. In this regard, it is in that context that there is a relationship between what has been presented in council. It has nothing to do with what Councillor Leah Knott has raised in the legislature. The motion was raised to her. If you were in that councillor street, you would have seen that Councillor Knott was not even able to explain the record of decisions of what the council has done to discharge their responsibility. It is in that context that we think that lifestyle audits must be supported. In fact, we're on record in terms of our policies. If you look at the resolutions of 2017 in Newzroom, we have made a decision around the lifestyle audits. Our government has made decisions in Gauteng. Already, our MECs are going through the process of the public engagement in respect of the lifestyle audits. Already, the Premier and the MECs have volunteered themselves. And in Johannesburg, the ANC government has done the same thing. It has introduced what is called an integrity commissioner. The late Advocate Rowdy presided over integrity commissioner, so that as a commissioner, and in ensuring that people declare their interests, their properties, everything else. So we're not opposed to lifestyle. Councillor Knott has not done that.
Will you be making a declaration to the MMC of Group Corporate Services, Councillor Leah Knott, about your interest?
She's failing. She's really failing, Mr. Mhluli. This is nothing new. We're not afraid of lifestyle of audits. We have called those lifestyle audits ourselves because the country's citizens have raised issues about corruption, and we have taken a stance. Go to any municipality of the DA. In fact, this motion is Councillor Leah Knott's process. It has nothing to do with the DA. In fact, DA has no record of lifestyle audits in all the municipalities they are running. So they can't be mischievous. They can't be disingenuous and say they are being pushed because of those things. Their records are clear about what the issues are. They are infringing, they are interfering on issues of Municipal Finance Management Act. They are busy flouting rules in council. There's no thought leadership there. There's no thought leadership. They are found wanting on good governance that they've been talking about. They are found wanting on issues of financial misconduct. And the records are very clear, Mr. Mhluli.
So let's talk then about this. I'm still not clear about why after so many months that you've been, I'm sure you are sitting next to Councillor Leah Knott there, for a couple of months as a councillor, that you are raising this question today.
I'm a new spokesperson elected in May as a spokesperson of the Greater Johannesburg region in the REC, Mr. Mvula. I am not a councillor. I am a former councillor. We just discovered this, as I was saying, that we were alerted on this information. And there's nothing wrong stopping us to inquire and raise the issues that we are raising. We have continued to raise the issues that we have raised consistently in council.
All right, I appreciate your time. That's Chris Vondo. Thank you very much for coming on. That is the ANC Greater Johannesburg spokesperson there. They are raising a concern and want an inquiry into the status of Councillor Knott and why she's not been gazetted.